Oh yeah,
I'm a
let me
dummy.
give that to you too, Biscuit.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Boom.
It's awesome. Having our first special guest on.
Oh
This
I
is
know.
yeah.
really cool.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel so special being the first guest. Thank you
It's
so much for
yeah, it's
having
really
me.
exciting. It,
Oh,
when we started this, we at least I thought that like no one's gonna want to listen to this shit. Like no one's gonna care about our thoughts on dumb conspiracy theories. But
I
actually,
do. Oh my
it's
gosh.
pretty. I enjoy it. I look forward to the TinBiscuit reviews.
I will
Yes.
say I have listened to all of them that are on the iTunes podcast now.
Have you?
I have, yeah. I did my
That's
research. I was
awesome.
like, what is the style format of this podcast, first of all? Yeah, I listened to them all. I love them so much.
Awesome. Well, do we want to just jump right in?
We sure
Yeah.
can.
Okay. Uh, so if anybody doesn't know, this is AwesomeLePossum. She's joining us tonight. We gave her the option of choosing tonight's topic, and she chose lizard people.
Yeah.
The idea of a reptilian race.
I'm honestly
So,
shocked you guys hadn't done it yet.
you know what? We haven't done it.
Well, I think we touched on it a little bit
Hmm.
when we talked about the Illuminati, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly, but it's kind of like its own thing and definitely
Mm.
deserves its own episode.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
definitely deserves more than we gave it during the Illuminati.
Mhm.
So, um, Possum, would you like to give a brief, like overview of kind of the idea behind a reptilian race?
Okay. I will try to keep it brief.
Mhm.
I first and foremost I tried to like I have like 3 pages of notes.
Wow.
um I tried to organize it in a way that made sense. And I say in a logical order with quotation marks because we are talking about lizard people. So I feel like the word logical doesn't stick around.
Hmm.
um so I would say, so first of all, I guess lizard people I think is one of like those bigger conspiracy theories where like if you bring it up, people kind of know what you're talking about. Like it's been pretty common, I guess, is for a conspiracy theory. It's like one of the
Yeah,
bigger ones.
I'd say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I remember I learned about them actually from like an episode of CSI when I was a kid,
Okay.
which was like aptly named Leaping Lizards.
Of course it was. Of
Naturally.
of course it
Of
was.
classic. So yeah, the majority of like the reptilian theory really revolves around like this one dude named David Icke, or David, I think it's David Icke. He's this British dude. And so basically, David Icke is this British guy. He used to be a soccer player, and
Hmm.
then he was like a sports broadcaster for BBC. And then back in the 90s, some psychic told him that he had been placed on Earth for like a purpose and he would begin to receive messages from the spirit world. And so the following year, he went on this like primetime BBC show and announced that he was the son of God and that the world was soon going to get like devastated by tidal waves and earthquakes. And he did that all on live TV and basically turned him from like a household name to like a joke, essentially. And
Yeah.
so he believes that the universe is made up of this like vibrational energy and it consists of like infinite dimensions and we share the same space. But that some people can tune their consciousness to other wavelengths and that kind of comes into play with lizard people. So basically, the reptilians, as they are called, they're shape shifting reptilian humanoids from the Draco constellation, which, if you know your stars, steins, or whatever, it's like a giant serpent in the sky.
Okay.
And he believes that they hide in the underground bases and are a force behind the conspiracy against humans. So it's the reptilians and like the greys, which are the aliens. And that they're like in this constant struggle to take over the human race. And so a typical reptilian person essentially is like a 7 to 9 foot tall individual, has green, scaly skin, 3 long fingers, as well as an opposable thumb with talons, uh, V muscular, apparently, big old eyeballs.
Okay.
Uh, and there's been reports of them having tails, not having tails, with and without wings. They've been sighted wearing clothes or very little clothes except for armor. but they always seem to have this is my favorite part. They always have been seen with some sort of utility belt which helps them become invisible.
Oh.
And so that's
So,
like the basic reptile
are
theory.
we
Like,
or are we not talking like a fanny pack?
oh, we're talking like a metal armored fanny pack.
Like full on Batman utility
Yes,
belt?
a Batman utility belt. Absolutely. That's what we're talking here. Mhm.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
And the important thing to remember is that they are reptilians because reptoid is technically a racial slur to them
Oh.
because a reptoid is like a human that's been possessed by a reptilian race because they're not human. They're like a separate thing that have entered our universe essentially.
Wait, so
Okay.
reptoids are a human possessed by a lizard person?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Because they're like a reptoid humanid or
Okay.
humanoid. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
so basically, David Icke, or sorry, I always think his name is David Icke because it's gross,
Because
but like it's
it
David
looks
Icke.
like icky.
It
It
looks
looks
like
like
ick.
It
It
looks
icky.
looks like
icky. It
icky.
does.
Yeah, exactly. Um, he basically believes that one of the main things that the reptilians do here on Earth is to cause human suffering and to basically ensure that there's like constant conflict between humans and like causes problems with us. And the reason they want this is because they actually like consume negative energy. So like jealousy and fear, hate and anger, and there's been like some links to even like sexual energy created. But like those like really negative deep emotions, they like consume those essentially.
So
And
they
so
just live
that's
on
their main
Twitch,
purpose.
is what you're
Yeah.
saying. Like
So they're trolls.
they just live on Twitch and they get all the sustenance they need.
Yeah.
All right, fair
So
enough.
that's where they come from. Um, yeah, so there's the reptilians, and then there's those who are able to be like possessed by the reptilian race, and those are the reptoids.
Okay.
So basically, like the conspiracy theory is that there's like people in power that are possessed by reptilians or like reptiles in disguise.
So they would be the reptoids.
Yeah, and so that's like the British royal family, like the Bush family. I think they've talked about like Barack Obama, Michelle Obama being one of them. There's like a whole list of potential like reptilian people and who
Okay.
they are.
So,
Yeah.
so basically, it's it seems from what I've gathered
Hmm.
that the list of potential reptoids, I want to be politically correct. I don't want to offend any lizard people out there. Um, the potential list is pretty similar to the potential list of people that are within the Illuminati that we covered
Yes.
last time.
Mhm.
Okay, so that actually ties in. So Ike believes that the genetically modified hybrid race of these shape-shifting reptilians are known as the Babylonian Brotherhood, otherwise known as the Illuminati. He thinks they're a part of the Illuminati. And so
Uh,
he thinks that they take part of the Illuminati to like manipulate the global events like the Illuminati do, but to keep the humans in constant fear. So they always have this negative energy to feed off of. This stuff goes deep.
Yeah,
This is a rabbit hole.
Everything comes back to the Illuminati.
It's all we know.
yeah. Everything with conspiracy theories comes back to Illuminati. Everything with movie reviews comes back to
Eventually.
Trimmers and Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon.
It's true.
So okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So the
So,
other go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, so I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Not that you have the answers. You may have the answers. One interesting thing that I came across, kind of talking about the difference between reptoids and like the actual lizard people.
Mhm.
So, where that there are actual multiple different lizard races.
Ooh.
So I don't know. I only saw it from one source, so I don't know how prevalent the
Mhm.
idea is. But there is the idea that there are the draconians. So, like you mentioned, they're from sort of that part of the solar system.
Yeah.
Um, that are sort of like straight up lizard people, right?
Mhm.
Like, and then there are, I think it's Saurians that are sort
Ooh.
of under the Draconians, but they're the ones that shapeshift. So there's
Okay.
kind of like a lizard person hierarchy.
Yeah.
So I
Ooh.
don't know if either of you have come across that, but that was something interesting that I
Oh,
A
that I ran
pyramid
into.
scheme of lizard people.
the pyramid scheme, the
Yeah,
multi-level marketing scam of
exactly.
lizard people.
So I guess then reptoids would be like at the very bottom, like
Oh yeah.
they're the people stuck at the bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah.
Okay,
Totally.
so let me ask you guys this, and
Mhm.
how do you know if you're a reptoid?
Oh, I'm glad you asked because I can answer. So basically, the idea is that reptilians, because it's like goes back to that vibrational frequency, so they can't operate in our dimension. They're technically from a fourth dimension.
Hmm.
So they need like a vehicle or like someone to possess in order to operate in this dimension. So that was actually like the reasoning is to like that's why there were certain like royal bloodlines created so that there would always be that vehicle. And there's even been suggestions that like you can see draconian and like serpent imagery and like their coat of arms or flags or like their corporation logos, and that's why they're in there.
Okay,
So basically, if suggesting that if you're being possessed by a reptilian, the idea is that it absorbs that reptilian part of your brain, which is like that primal fight or flight, pain, fear, those things that they're feeding off of. But only a certain percentage of the population can be possessed by reptilians. So
okay,
the qualities you must have to be a reptilian like host, basically, you have to have blue or green eyes, you have true red or reddish hair, low blood pressure, keen sight or hearing, piercing eyes, my personal favorite, a love of space and science. And then you have to have some sort of like psychic ability and just like this general sense of not belonging to the human race.
okay. So you almost had me down to a T until you said like excellent sight or whatever, like excellent vision, because obviously I wear glasses, but everything else that's me.
Well, I
So
mean, Tin Man, you could be wearing glasses to throw people off.
That's true.
what if
And
they
it
got
does
me?
they might have you. It just means you're more susceptible to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now,
Yeah.
okay, so this is like a little bit off. It's on topic, but it's a little bit off topic. Do you guys ever watch the show on Nickelodeon? Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes.
Okay, there's an entire episode called The Hatching, and it is about lizard people. Um, and like they like can't stand loud noises or like the vibrations of the loud, like the vibrations of the
Hmm.
wavelengths and stuff. So that's pretty interesting that you bring that up. Also, that's a
Mhm.
Canadian show, Possum. Just saying.
Oh, is it a Canadian show?
Yes,
Interesting. Hmm.
a lot of TV shows come from Canada, actually.
Shocking. Yeah,
So
you guys?
it's interesting that you bring that up because I know that well, we talked about how it was in CSI. It's very like prevalent as
Yeah.
a conspiracy theory. But what's interesting to me is that it even predates. So like even though David Icke kind of made it a household thing,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like the idea of lizard people or a lizard race from other planets has been around for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's been in literature and like pulp, like sort of fiction and stuff like that, science
Yeah.
fiction.
Mhm.
So it's just I don't know when that kind of like merged into like a conspiracy theory, like, hey, this could be true instead of
mhm.
Yeah.
just science fiction, but it's been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was
Like,
actually talking to Possum about it, and
mhm.
it's like it's pretty prevalent in older like mythologies, older
Mhm.
religions and stuff. They would have they would pray to gods that had, a snake's head or a crocodile head or whatever, and they have like drawings of this stuff. They're
Mhm.
and so it's really interesting that it's like if you look at it from an overall scope of the timeline, it's like, oh, it's a part of religion, it's like a mythology kind of thing, and then it kind of becomes like a weird sci-fi trope, and then now it's like a conspiracy theory that is apparently insane because my mind is blown with all this stuff.
I think the important thing to remember too is that when it comes to David Icke, he's seen as too crazy for Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Really?
Alex Jones flat out said that he was like a nut bar. So you got to keep that in mind. Your levels there too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
but yeah, like you said, like the god Sobek had like the head of a Nile crocodile. Like he represented like power and like fertility and military prowess. There's like
Right.
hydras, like the Medusa, like the Gorgons. Like there's so much of it. And yeah, like you mentioned, Biscuit with like literature. Um, there's like Lovecraftian, like Cthulhu kind of
Mhm.
came out of that as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so they kind of think that the conspiracy originated from literature and not so much mythology. Um, like Conan the Barbarian had some mentions of serpent
Yep,
people, and
sure
it kind of
did.
sprained out of there. And then when they kind of created up with like the Cthulhu mythos that came out like with Lovecraft and other people, like the Lovecraftian eras,
Mhm.
basically. Yeah, it kind of really got like a foothold from there.
Well, I don't know if you want to take it back all the way to, mythology, mentioning sort of like people with lizard heads or whatever sort of like god or goddess you want to choose from.
Mhm.
It's sort of like go into ancient alien territory
Yeah,
where you
True.
exactly.
where you could argue, oh, well, these weren't gods, these were aliens that came down and they could
Hmm.
have been lizard people.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so you could make it work if you wanted to connect all the
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cyber at 99 is like so Mark Zuckerberg then.
Right. So, okay. So we talked about how you know if you're a reptoid,
Hmm.
or I guess the qualities that they look for in a potential reptoid. We've talked about what they hope to achieve, right? We've talked about a few little the people that or that is believed to be part of the reptilian race or reptoids or whatever. Um, so what? How do I want to word this? What? What would they? Okay, never mind. I'll come back to
You're
me. Come back
Okay.
to me.
um, so basically the one other part, there's a couple other things that Ike kind of talks about if that will help like maybe stimulate your question, Tin Man.
Yes, probably.
So basically he thinks that the only way that they can basically be defeated is if people wake up to the truth and fill their hearts with love because the reptilians feed on negative energy. So if you put yourself in with like positive flowing happy thoughts, like filling yourself with love and good deeds, you're less likely to be obsessed and it'll like sorry, possessed, and you won't be like it'll help keep them at bay, basically. Um the other part of it is this is okay, this is this theory that this is my audition for second round of podcast because I would love to talk about the hollow moon because there's so much with that.
Ah,
So
yeah.
I with if you guys have heard of that at all. There's like a lot of theories to Hollow Moon. But basically he also thinks that like the earth and the collective human mind are manipulated from the moon because it's actually a spacecraft and an interdimensional portal that the reptilians control. So we're all living in a dream world and it's actually like the matrix. And so they're projecting things down from the moon. And when we wake up to what things actually are, it pulls us out of the moon and back to like our normal selves, essentially, which is just like, it gets really wild once you start
What?
going into the moon.
What?
Yeah.
I feel like with this guy, you like keep building on layer and layer of
Oh,
like
yeah.
just more outlandish. Like if aliens from space weren't weird enough, also the moon's hollow and like I don't know, they suck your negative energy and
Yeah.
like it just keeps getting weirder.
Yeah, I
It,
mean, one of the things that I saw in one of the almost like TED talk he was doing
Mhm.
was he like focused for like 5 minutes on the fact that these reptilian overlords have like golden wieners,
Wait,
Wait,
like
what?
what?
wieners made out of
What?
gold. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. He like focused for like 5 minutes that they have wieners made out of gold, and I'm just like, right, sure, I guess. I guess if I'm going with the theory that reptilians are real, why not give them golden wieners? I mean, honestly,
why not at that point?
I mean, I think that I heard him talk about their love of gold.
Mm.
So I think that's one of the reasons, I guess, aside from feeding off of us, but they're also interested in gold. Um,
So that's where all those
so,
cash for gold schemes come from.
Oh
right,
my
yeah.
god, yeah, they're lizard people.
We,
Oh my god.
we've cracked the
Plot
code,
thickens.
guys.
We've cracked the code.
Jesus.
I Oh man. I can think of like one Cash for Gold commercial in my mind right now, but if you're not from the Toronto area, you won't know it.
I don't know anything.
Oh
I
my
don't know
god. But yeah,
anything.
him for sure.
But yes, like I mean, it's all like you said, Biscuit. It's like you're just like adding and adding and adding, and
Mhm.
maybe that is why Alex Jones is like this dude is off his freaking rocker because
Yeah.
it this and if you look at this as an entire like theory with
Mhm.
everything thrown in, it sounds insane.
Mhm.
Not that I'm saying it couldn't be possible. I want to keep an open mind, but what I'm saying is it sounds insane. I can't
So
be alone in that. Like
so 4% of the population believes in reptilian. So it's 12 million Americans.
Which is, I mean, in the scheme of things, it's not a lot of people, but it's kind of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people. Yeah.
Like to me that's almost half my population. But yeah, I can see
Yeah.
like where you guys are like, yeah, it's not that many.
Yeah.
How many people believe in flat Earth?
I think more than, well, I think it's more than lizard people.
Is
Let's
it?
find out.
How many?
I don't if I'm just guessing. I don't know if that's accurate.
I don't know. Only two thirds. Only 2/3 of American millennials believe the Earth is round.
Only 2/3? That
I don't
feels
know. I
low.
typed in how many people believe in flat Earth, and I just got a bunch of blogs about that flat earthers actually exist. Like I know they exist, dude. I don't know.
We know. Yeah.
But still, 2/3 of millennials, which would be I guess technically my age, right?
Yeah, me too.
30s?
Yeah.
The 30s, like in their like 30s, late 20s,
Yeah.
Mhm.
believe in flat Earth. That's scary to think about.
It
But then
really
you say
is.
4% of the world's population or America's population?
I think it's 4% of the world, but that encompasses like 12 million Americans. It
Hmm.
wasn't super clear. It could have also been just like the UK too, because that was it was kind of referencing like the 4% of the population believe in like David Icke's theories
Hmm.
specifically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
That's scary to think about. Oh
It
well.
really is.
Oh
So,
well.
all right. So, I feel like, okay, so to believe in the idea of a reptilian race controlling people,
Hmm.
you you also have to believe in aliens, right?
Oh yeah.
And and if you give credence to the fact that aliens exist, do they okay, so does David Icke, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Does he think that they're okay, not all aliens are reptilians, right?
No, yeah.
Okay. So does he ever talk about things that like world events or, like actual like big things that are caused by reptilians?
So like he basically thinks that the reptilians are like the Illuminati and the Illuminati kind of came from them. So all those big global events that the Illuminati have been done by the lizard people to basically like create chaos essentially. So he believes in this thing called the New World Order, which is the hierarchy of like alien invasions, lizard people, Illuminati, all of it. So he definitely believes in like extraterrestrials. So he
Okay.
believes that there's extraterrestrials. We'll back it up. So there's like extraterrestrials, which are like the grays, the gray aliens,
Mhm.
and then there's intraterrestrials because they come from the hollow Earth, which are the reptilians.
Worse.
Yeah. And those are like the dominant force basically coming in. But that's like a combination of like David Icke's theories as well as like other people's theories. So David Icke thinks that they come from a constellation, the Draco constellation, but that their base to go back and forth is the hollow Earth, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
like kind of.
Okay.
His thing is really more the reptilians though, but he is a part of like New World Order, which also encompasses aliens. So they have to go hand in hand.
Okay.
So are they working together? Or are they battling for? Oh, you said they're battling for dominance of the Earth, right?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that they were doing that. There might be things out there that suggest otherwise, but yeah, I saw that they were they're like the two dominating species.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So never
So yeah,
mind.
and David Icke thinks that the Greys, like the aliens, come from the Andromeda galaxy, so something separate entirely.
Okay.
So, as crazy as David Icke sounds, I know that he kind
Hmm.
of going back to his belief in like the different dimensions and
Hmm.
sort of like the psychic mind, or I'm not sure what he calls it, but he has also created prophecies. And I don't know if we want to
Ooh.
talk specifically about David Icke because I mean, he has other stuff. I I think his belief in, or he's prophesizing, I guess, what the lizard people are going to do,
Hmm.
essentially, or what the
Yeah.
Illuminati are going to cause. Um, but he's written books full of prophecies.
Yeah,
And
he's written like a lot of books.
yeah, so I think that some of them have come true. I put that in air quotes, but um I don't know. I don't know. It's so I don't know. He's supposedly he's got a lot of crazy ideas, but I mean some people also believe that his prophecies have come true. So there's a whole lot going on there.
What are some
Okay.
of the prophecies that have come true?
Yeah.
I'm
Let me
curious.
see. They were on he was listing some of them. There's a actually for anyone who's interested on YouTube, there's like a 40-minute documentary specifically about David Icke.
Oh.
And so he's talking about all of the website hits he's gotten. And I'm not sure when the documentary was created. It may have been a couple of
Mhm.
years ago.
Hmm.
Um, but kind of all of the website hits he's gotten after some big world event happens of
Okay.
people looking at his site and trying to like find one of his prophecies that relates to it.
Mm.
So he was listing them off on the documentary, but I bet I can find a list.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, I don't I mean like yeah, I would be curious to know because are they like somewhat normal things or are they like out there that you could only
yeah, I mean,
like
we haven't talked about prophecies. I think that
Hmm.
was something that one of our viewers brought up a couple of streams ago.
Mhm.
But I feel like with a lot of prophecies, like they're so vague that
Yeah.
you could kind of match them
Right.
to
Yeah.
different things. You could like make it fit, and I
Hmm.
kind of feel like that's the same thing here, but
Okay.
I would
I don't
agree with that too, because it's like here's the thing I find with the conspiracy theories is like they kind of seem to always stem from like this tiny nugget of truth. And,
know.
like, they kinda latch onto that, and then they build their whole basis off of that one tiny piece of information. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like, for example, David Icke talking about, like, we all are on this vibrational energy. Like, technically, our atoms vibrate at frequencies. Like, that's
Right.
not wrong, but it's like this teeny tiny nugget of science that he's, like, pulled off of, but then expanded even more out of it.
Mhm.
So I think you're totally right, Biscuit. Like it's almost like there's always like one little thing that they kind of like that's a real thing that they latch onto, and then
Mhm.
it kind of explodes out from there, and then
Right.
it loses its credibility as it kind of goes down the line, or it
Right.
becomes like crazier.
Yeah, and we were
Yeah.
talking about that last time with the celebrity death conspiracies. Is that
Mm-hmm.
it's like someone will take a picture of someone and they'll be like, "Oh, well, look, see right here, their hair's shorter, so you know it's not them, and it's
Yeah.
actually a clone, or
Yeah.
whatever." And it's like, okay, sure, or they cut their freaking hair. That's
Oh my god, like
stupid.
Tupac. That blew my mind.
Hey, all right, Tupac. Let's not
That
get it.
was a good one.
Look, I talked for like 20 minutes on Tupac last time, and I love Tupac.
All right, I have a few of the David Icke
Ooh,
Yes,
yes.
go.
prophecies. Okay. So in 1999,
Okay.
in one of his books, he wrote that between 2000 and 2002, the United States will suffer a major attack on a large city.
Oh.
So, talking about 9/11.
Right,
I mean, I'm assuming.
right.
In his 1990 paperback, he declared the years after the millennium will see gathering conflict all over the world to the point where the United Nations will be overwhelmed. And in the same book, he predicted severe hurricanes around the Gulf of Mexico and New Orleans after 2000. So those are
Hmm.
kind of like his big
Whoa.
prophecies.
Yeah,
Prophecies.
but like hurricanes happen all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
there, it's like every summer, it's like, oh, there's 17 hurricanes coming towards Florida. Oh, they got downgraded to tropical storms. Oh, they got downgraded to a light mist. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like natural disasters like hurricanes and stuff. Not, I'm not trying to downplay Katrina or anything like that. I'm just saying like
Mm-hmm.
hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff, they happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
whether they're bad enough to make landfall in the case of like hurricanes and stuff and cause mass amounts of damage, that's another story.
Yeah.
But they do happen quite a bit. So
Yeah. I mean, so to his point, it's easy to see why people would believe that he's coming up with these accurate prophecies.
mhm.
And so that
Mm-hmm.
may be part of the reason why so many people also believe in the lizard people. Because
Yeah.
that's what I mean, it's a huge one of the biggest things that he talks about.
Right.
But for I don't know, maybe it's just helping his helping his whatever credibility he may have.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that I mean, that may be why some people think that maybe the other things he's saying are also true.
Mm-hmm.
Fair point. Yeah. That
Yeah.
could be it. I mean that would definitely can't hurt, if you're coming up with all these prophecies that are quote unquote coming true, whether
Yeah.
they're, likely to happen or not likely to
Yeah.
happen. If they're coming true, people are like, "Oh man, this guy's like Nostradamus. He knows what he's talking about."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know, man. It's a you know what? I started with this and I was like, you know what? This isn't too bad. Like this dude sounds kind of loopy. He sounds, but he's not like super out there.
And then it gets bad.
And then it gets real bad.
It just goes.
I mean, to be honest, like lizard people, the concept of lizard people is really cool.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
But speaking of all the stuff, like I didn't know about this or about David Icke in particular, like the stuff about the different dimensions and infinite dimensions
Mm-hmm.
and aliens and all this stuff and kind of what he believes
Yeah.
is just kind of cool. Like it's just kind of neat.
Yeah.
Like, and there's so much to it.
Oh yeah.
I agree. Dang it! It would make
Yeah.
one great movie. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely would.
Um,
Yeah, I
but
think his theories of like the multiple dimensions and we're all kind of layered over top, like that's something that's pretty not I won't say regular, but that's something I feel like that's been discussed previously as like
yeah,
a
I
like
mean,
that feels familiar, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I kind of that and like like multiple timelines going at
Mhm.
once, like
Yeah.
that I kind of throw that in with like the multiple dimensions and stuff.
Yeah.
Not that it should be, but like that's just how I am. And so like during the ghost episode that we had, that's how I think that ghosts are, is that it's kind of like two dimensions or two timelines are like rubbing too close together and then they like cross
Ooh.
over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah,
that's
I
just
think we also touched on it in both our simulated life and the time cube episode, maybe.
Mhm.
I
all
think
right.
we've talked about like alternate dimensions a lot
Yeah.
or infinite
Yeah.
All
dimensions.
right.
It
So
comes back around for sure.
so
It
what's
does.
crazier, lizard people or time cube?
Um, I think I'm gonna have to go with time
Yeah,
cube.
I'm going for time cube.
I'm going with time cube too.
I
Time Cube, for anyone who has not heard the Time Cube episode, it is a wild ride from start to finish,
It is.
and
watch it, listen to it.
and it is insane.
Oh yeah.
It is insane the things that that dude
Yeah.
came up with, and that's Biscuit's neck of the woods.
It is, yeah.
That's her neck of the woods. So
Yep.
Yeah.
just saying.
I told my dad that we were doing the podcast tonight and that it was on lizard people, and he was like, "Yeah, I can see that's got some merit."
Is your dad a believer?
Oh no, my dad is also someone that you're like, I'm not sure if you're messing with me, but there's like a 90% chance you're messing with me. But he does it so convincingly that you're like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe he does believe in lizard people.
That's
Like there's a
great.
solid chance there too. It's hard to say.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, love it.
Hmm.
I think one of my favorite things though about the lizard people uh is like when people on like Reddit or whatever, when they're like, yeah, I saw one, like people are confirming the sighting. Like it's not just like the other like all the theory. It's like, yeah, no, this is legit because I saw one for
Mhm.
sure. There's like a
Yeah,
yeah.
that happened, so when we were doing the celebrity episode, there's this huge thing of people claiming that they saw Justin Bieber turn into a
Mm.
lizard. So,
I could see
but
it.
yeah, there's
He's
a lot
Canadian.
of
I could see
people.
it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do claim that they've seen lizard people, and apparently
Yeah.
some of them are celebrities, and people have seen that too.
Oh yeah, the celebrities being lizard people is a huge thing because they have like clout and like influence, right? So
Mhm.
they're good vehicles to possess because they can kind of help steer things in a certain direction if they put their back behind it, right?
Mhm.
Just like Illuminati.
Just like Illuminati.
Yeah.
There was like a video of like Miley Cyrus and they're like you can see at like minute 1:28.4 seconds that her she blinks horizontally because she's a lizard person. Like her eyelids
Okay.
go horizontal rather than like up and down like ours do.
See,
And like good for a lizard.
I think those people that devote their time to like looking at pictures and videos of celebrities and famous people and stuff
Mhm.
just for that one split second where something seems off, that is that to me is more insane than David Icke.
Yeah.
Like to spend so much time to try and find the difference between picture A and picture B and what's different. Like it's a dang highlights for kids magazine.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that to me is more insane. I can't wrap my head around why someone would do that. And I wouldn't say I'm a believer in a lot of conspiracy theories, but I'm like, you know what? That could happen. That's
Yeah.
plausible. And so I don't know. That like to me that's a little bit out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Solaria says that there are people who split their tongues. Like they get
Oh.
them like surgically split, you know?
Oh yeah.
Maybe they're trying to get closer to their lizard people brethren.
I do wonder. Maybe they're trying to become a vehicle for people. Like
Maybe.
they want to be one of the people who gets possessed and like or they want to be taken up into the ranks because if Biscuit said there's a hierarchy of lizard people.
Pyramid scheme. We
Yeah,
said it was
pyramid
a
Yeah,
scheme.
the
Pyramid
pyramids.
scheme of lizard people. Maybe they like have that feeling that they don't belong with the human race, but they're not being taken up by a lizard person quite
Hmm.
yet.
So
And
they're
maybe that's yeah.
lizard person groupies.
Yes, they're reptilian groupies. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Oh my gosh, that just reminds me of that gray alien quote to man.
Oh, dude.
That's so funny.
So yeah, Possum was talking to me about the Greys, the Gray aliens or whatever. And what was the line again,
Oh yeah,
Possum?
so because they're talking about how they're like they're saying that they're not as aggressive as reptilians in UFO lore. Like reptilians are supposed to be like the far more like want chaos, cause strife, because that's what they came for. Um, the Greys are seen as the sex pests of the supposed alien world.
Wait, what?
So they don't really care about the good old Palladian way. They prefer abduction, all those things. They don't really care about war or environmentalism. They don't care about any of that. And like the too long didn't read version, which is on this website, and I have been dying laughing at this whole time, is basically, in other words, they don't come in peace so much as for a literal piece of ass.
Wow.
I'm just like,
It's so
what?
good. It's such a good line.
Oh my god! But that's also how I knew I'd gone to parts of the internet today. I was like, "Yep, we're done. We're pulling back out."
Okay,
Because
so we talked about how they're kind of like, are they at war with the Greys? Is that what we're saying, or is it just like a? Is it more like
like a territory type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like kind of like a tug of war kind of thing,
Mhm.
or are
I
they
don't
like
know.
actually in battle, like this is like Star Trek or something?
Yeah, I feel like I've heard both. That some people think that they're kind of trying to control us for domination of like this dimension slash this Earth.
Okay.
Um, but then like there's this other part where it says like they're not interested in the same thing as the reptiles. Like the reptilians are here for certain things. Like they
Hmm.
want those negative energies, and the Greys are like not as interested in that. They just have other things they're into, so to speak. So it's
Okay.
hard to say. I haven't seen a clear cut and dry yes, they're at battle or no, they're not.
Okay.
But they're just the two, they happen to be the two dominating races of aliens that are above us technically in the hierarchy of
So that
things.
also implies that there's more alien types out there
Oh yeah.
that are
So there's
also a
yeah.
part of this ongoing battle. They're just
Yeah.
not currently winning.
Yeah. So Ike says that the reptilians come from not only another planet, but like another dimension. So they come from the lower level of the fourth dimension, which is the one nearest the physical world, which is ours. And so he says that from this dimension, they can control us through the moon, the hollow moon. But just as there's fourth dimensional reptilians controlling us, they in turn are controlled by a fifth dimension of alien species. And we don't know what they
Whoa.
are. Yeah.
We don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Not even David
Not even
Icke.
David Icke. Yeah. So yeah, it's like layers on layers of this thing.
My goodness.
So that okay, that actually makes sense, and let me tell you why.
Oh God.
All
Perfect.
right, if you think about the concept of lizard people,
Mhm.
and if they exhibit all of the traits of what we think of as like a reptile, right? The skin, the eyes, the you know whatever constitutes a lizard.
Yeah.
That seems like the strangest form to take to absorb negative energy.
Yeah.
Like a humanoid reptile being that
Mhm.
lives off of negative energy doesn't, I mean, it doesn't quite sit right with me. But if you think about them being controlled like else, and then maybe there's like layers on that, then maybe the ones controlling them are feeding off of the energy, like some like
Mhm.
formless interdimensional being that thrives off of the energy created throughout different dimensions. Like that makes more sense to me than just lizard people
Yeah.
absorbing energy.
It's like the reptilians are like the foot soldiers essentially for them.
Right.
What if
So then in that
it's
case, would it make sense that they're scaly because that's kind of like armor?
ooh?
Maybe.
Mm.
I mean, they could have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, just
Yeah.
like we were, right? So like we're convenient to them. They were
Hmm.
probably convenient to something else.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay. So what if we talked about the simulation theory, and the idea is that there is a hyper advanced, hyper intelligent race of something controlling our every move, everything, right?
Hmm.
Like that's a theory. So
Yes.
what if the hyper advanced, hyper intelligent race is controlling the lizard people, who are in turn controlling us?
Mm.
How
Yeah,
about
that's
that?
kind of that
Yeah.
was my thought. Like there's something at the very top, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So then
Maybe
what do we
something that
control?
we yeah, something that we probably couldn't even comprehend, but some force of being that is controlling other species.
My brain hurts.
There's always a bigger fish.
Yep.
That's true. That's
That's
true.
true. Yeah, no, I think that's that. I feel like if you're gonna go ahead and just like accept this at face value, you have to accept that there's something way up top that we can't even like fathom.
Oh yeah, go
Yeah.
all the way in. Just
Yeah.
dive just dive straight in.
I think that's the only way to go.
Yep.
You have to just be accepting of it, truly.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know. This is insane. All right. It it's not that I don't think it's plausible. I just feel like all right. So, hang on. Hang on. So they're like a secret society, like the Illuminati. They are the Illuminati.
I think
Like they're suspected to be the Illuminati.
yeah.
Okay. So, do they you said they live within the hollow earth or the hollow
Hollow
moon?
moon.
Hollow
Hollow
moon.
moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do they like how come we never see their spaceships or anything coming down to earth to control us? You know what I'm saying?
Wait, I thought they lived in Hollow Earth. Well, they live on the moon and Earth?
So it's like the reptilians can't be here. They need the vessels. And so
Oh, gotcha.
the vessels go through there, but they can't operate in this plane, but the moon serves as like a portal so they can like if you believe into the hollow moon stuff, like they're able to like kind of possess people via the moon, but they're not
Mhm.
really on Earth.
Okay.
They're in a separate
Okay.
dimension.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I got you. So then would the Illuminati be just like a reptoid?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I got you now.
It's
Okay.
all coming together.
It's all
It's all making sense.
I guess.
It's all making sense.
I guess.
That's an interesting phrase. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think with
So
this one, it's like you have to jump in the deep end with like head first.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean you gotta jump in, but not only do you have to jump in, you have to like just start swimming. Just go ahead. Um okay, so the reptilians control the reptoids through the portal in the moon.
Well,
Through
you put
another
it like
dimension.
that. Yeah.
Okay, and then the reptoids try and influence humans, right?
Mhm.
To have negative thoughts, negative energy, and then they
Yes.
like send it back.
They like feed off of it. Yeah. So I don't know how they send it back. I never saw anything about that.
Well, I
But
cracked
it's like
it.
their sustenance. There you go. You
I
cracked the
broke it.
code.
I broke it. I broke the theory. It's all for naught now.
Well, I mean, we did talk about how you're definitely likely to get possessed. So if you start
Um,
acting weird, we're going to know it's because they heard this podcast
Yeah.
and they're coming for you now.
well, let's think about it logically. All right. If you really want to control the thoughts and feelings of the nations, wouldn't you come after the national treasure and the global icon?
Oh, absolutely.
Come on.
Yep. It
Boom.
only makes sense.
It does.
Boom.
Guys, we sorted it out. That's lizard people in a nutshell. Crack the code.
No need for David Icke anymore.
No,
Yeah.
We got
we're
it.
the new heads of the operation here.
All
Quit
right.
your day jobs. This is what we're doing now.
All right. So I want to know right now from you two, do
Okay.
you think it's plausible or do you think it's an outlandish theory?
So I'm gonna say that initially I thought it was outlandish because I wasn't aware of the interdimensional aspect of it. I just thought, some lizard aliens flew down and are trying to sap us of our negative energy. But when you throw uh infinite dimensions into it, I would say maybe yeah, then it might be.
Okay. Awesome.
I feel like I've gone the other way. Where like it's it's just there's so much to it. Like I definitely am down for the interdimensional, like multiple universes. I'm in on
Mhm.
that. I think there has to be more than just us. I don't know what that would be. I think I have a hard time with the hollow moon aspect. Like that's and there's hollow earth too, but like I have a hard time with those.
Mhm.
Um just because I guess the child in me likes the moon landing. I don't know. It's just like I can't like wrap my brain around that. I don't know. I feel like if I had to choose which was more plausible, ghosts or reptilians, I would go with ghosts. Like
Okay.
that makes more sense to me for some reason than reptiles. But then again, I don't think we're the only like thing out there either. So
Okay.
I'm torn.
Okay. So first off, I'm gonna say that I think it's pretty pompous of humans as a whole to think that we are the only intelligent beings in space and
Hmm.
anywhere in the universe. So that's my thoughts on that. Second of all, I think, look, man, I think if you believe that the Illuminati is controlling the thoughts and feelings of the human race as a whole by putting people in power, by putting certain
Hmm.
people in power, that you almost have to believe in something controlling them to do that. And so if we're
Yeah.
saying that the Illuminati are reptoids, I can kind of see it. I can kind of see it. I don't.
It's almost like so outlandish, like you have no idea whether or not it could be true. Like you can't even make a best guess of
Yeah.
whether it's possible or not. That you almost have to say, well, I guess it could be possible since there's no way to quantify that at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I think if you believe in the Illuminati and that create that in that theory, you almost have to not necessarily believe in lizard people, but there's got to be something controlling them.
Hmm.
And so I can kind of see it. Yes, it's outlandish. Yes, it sounds crazy on paper, and when you start reading into it, it gets way deeper. Um, Stuff that I never even uncovered in my research. You guys brought up tonight, but I think I can kind of see it. I can kind of see it. I don't really know where them having golden wieners comes into play, but like, you know what? Sure. I mean, I guess if we're going with they're from an alternate dimension that's traveling through a portal in the hollow moon, feeding off negative energy and negative thoughts, why not give them golden wieners? That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. It was a valuable addition to our discussion, Tin Man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Look, it's the part that stuck out most. All right, and I feel
Literally.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, y'all need Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
All
Yeah, I
right.
agree with you guys. It's one of those things you're just like, yeah, there's so much to it. There's part of it could be true, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a big encompassing theory because I think it interacts with like a lot of other like technical conspiracy theories.
Mhm.
So you have to have this whole like chain reaction of I believe in all of this stuff,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Like it's like a big chain and
Yeah.
you have to like it's like how far up this chain am I going to go before
Mhm.
this is too much? And I'm waiting for the next one where it's like this is above the reptilian race and I'm ready to see how crazy that one is. But I
Oh
will
man.
say after hearing all this stuff, some of the other conspiracy theories out there don't seem so crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've definitely gone through like varying degrees of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I will say, I think I plugged this last time, maybe in the simulation theory episode.
okay.
But since we're talking about whether or not we're in the universe, there's a really good video about the Fermi paradox. I linked it in my chat, but
Yeah, I'm going to
I think I
grab
can
that.
link it. Okay, yeah. It's like a two-parter episode. This channel actually has a lot of good sort of like space and time theory explanations. So
Mhm.
Okay.
definitely check it out. It's pretty cool.
Cool.
I'll have to do that. I'll have to do that because this stuff interests me, whether it's insane or not.
You're ready to go down that rabbit hole.
I was born ready. I was born.
Oh
Well,
man.
do you guys have anything else that you would like to cover?
I think we covered so much and more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think,
definitely and more.
yeah, I think that I'm. I won't say I'm done talking about lizard people because I'm intrigued by this like hollow moon, hollow earth thing.
Mhm.
Um, but and I'm done for tonight. I will say that
Yeah.
I'm done.
It's for another episode.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
for
that's
another
for the
episode,
best.
another time. Um, but other than that, guys, I have nothing else.
Nope, that's all I
Yeah.
got.
I think
Okay,
thank you
well,
guys so much for having me as your very first guest. I'm so honored to
Yeah, no,
have been
this
invited on.
yeah, this was great.
yeah, I agree. I'm really glad that you decided to join us and that we
Mhm.
got you to get on here to talk about something that you're kind of interested in.
Yeah.
Um, I think that it was a lot of fun, and I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, I'd love to come back if you'll have me.
Definitely.
Definitely. All right.
Cool.
Well, I
All
will
right.
talk to you guys later.
Have a good
Awesome's
night,
chat,
everybody.
Yeah,
biscuits
thank you
chat. Have
guys.
a good time. Good night.
Night,
Whatever.
everybody.
Good night.
Have a good one, guys.